And here we are going live. Thank you very much for being here. And how is it going, everyone in the chat? I am starting very early, but it is a 3-segment show. So it's always good to start early when you got a lot to accomplish, I guess. You know? Oh, there I am. So that's why I'm a little early today. Also, I was ready, and I thought, well, let's just fucking do it. But I want to say hello, Bruce Parker, Catbot, Cornbread, Jordan Salafalo, Austin, El Mono Loco, Catbot. I think I said Bruce Parker, Cornbread. Everyone here's here. Purple Goop. Sorry, I'm a little early. Sleepy Time 4 Cat Productions. Twisted Razor. The show is 3 seconds. What? What does that mean? I'm confused by that. But anyway, yeah. Oh, Rocket Lomax. But yeah, I am here, and I need to be a moderator. You do? What? Anyway, hey Ryan, test you? Testing? TS testing? I'm not sure what is going on there. You said that. Oh, I did? Anyway. Good evening. Hello. Testing? I'm confused. Anyway, I'm very confused now. Sponge on the Run versus Paul Blart or Kamp Karol. Okay. Alright. I will show my face, Bloxy Oxenwinkle. Hold on. Let's do the fade. Whoop, there we go. Hello. Welcome to Movie Crap Live. How are you doing today? Thank you everyone who's watching now or is watching in the future. Fingers are too fast. Hello, Bloxy. Sponge on the Run versus Paul Blart or Kamp Karol. Cheers to you. So I put out 2 of those reviews. Sorry. It's okay, Ryan. TuneJ723. Hello, Bruce Parker. Nathaniel Foga, how's it going? I would say Paul Blart. I'd say Paul Blart's the best of those 3. I'm not saying that for the memes. I'm saying that in for real, Paul Blart is better than Sponge on the Run. Does that make sense? I think so. I put my phone right here in it. That was weird. Buster, can you hold my phone? Buster's my little assistant. Aw. Can't we just get beyond Thunderdome? That's very Chandler. Anyway, cheers to you, Austin. Hello, Ace the Wind Rider. Alright. So, we got a shark here. Got the whole pizza crew. Servo. Sunspot Mill, Elwood DD. How's it going? Alright, so tonight we have a bunch of movie news and animation news to talk about. I have 3 segments, those being Kamp Karol Episode 1, a review of Paramount Plus, and a review of the final season, Episode 9, I believe, of WandaVision. But 8, 9, I'm confused. Doesn't matter. I reviewed the right one that came out this week. But yeah, I hope you guys are all doing well. Oh, hey Garrett, how's it going? It's been a week. I think I put out some strong stuff this week, actually. I'm really happy that I actually just got 4 movie reviews out this week, which doesn't really work out. I will say that Judas and the Black Messiah was more just because it sort of got delayed, so that was more because of that. But that I got, Tom and Jerry, Chasing Amy, which I shot a while ago, and all that. So that was a very productive week. I'm actually going to have a segment next week that's a Kevin Smith related TV special, which I actually found, and I don't think anyone even talks about. And that'll probably be the last Kevin Smith segment I can think of, unless there's something else or something. But I think it'll just be the movies there on out. But yeah, I was proud of all the content. I was a little worried. Hey, M Blood T. I was a little worried because it seems like people still like Chasing Amy, and I was not so positive on it, so I was a little concerned about that. What did we do? Sophie we all watched Incredibles 2, and I think she really likes superhero stuff. I think we're going to do another Spider-Verse screening soon. I have not seen Hello, Coral Tender. I have not seen Raya and the Last Dragon yet. We're going to watch that later in the week. I also would like to do a review of Hello, Not in Box 64. I would also like to do a review of Close Enough Season 2 as well. And yeah, I've been just watching, Close Enough. Continue to watch Harley Quinn. A while ago, someone asked me, did I like the shark? The shark that Ron Funches does, King Shark or whatever. That is an awesome. Happy birthday, Jordan Salafalo. Hello, happy birthday. Also, anyway. Wait, where was I? I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, we haven't watched Raya, watched Incredibles. Oh, and Sophie's birthday is Monday. But happy birthday, George Slavlo. But Sophie's birthday is Monday. It's her fourth birthday. Taking some time off for that. And that's going to be exciting. I'm really excited for that. I think we're going to have a fun week. I might just be posting segments this week because we're going to be, doing some a little more family stuff. So I don't think, Ron Funch's shark. Thank you. So, I don't know. I'm excited for next week. I think it's going to be a fun family week, if anything else. But the Ron Funches shark, King Shark, is really funny. So, someone brought it... Okay, here's what I was going to say. Someone brought up King Shark or Ron Funches shark last time. And I was like, saw him like slightly, because it takes me forever to watch stuff. So, I've seen him since, and I was like, yeah, he's great. Kite Man's great. I just like Ivy. I like everything about it, but I think it's going to be cool. That's a show I just love watching. I know. Oh yeah, did I mention I tried to watch Malcolm and Marie, and like I was gonna review it, and I just could not get through that movie. It was just so bad. Like, oh my god. And I want to like hate that movie, but I also don't ever want to see it because like, although I would love to watch a movie that with nothing but action sequences, this is a movie that's just a couple fighting is like not really interesting. And there's an actual good movie about like a couple breaking up. Well, first off, The Breakup, which is better than Malcolm and Marie, but also La Notte, which is what I thought The Breakup was trying to do. But it was just, that movie is horrible. And I tried to pick it up again and I was like, this is so bad. And it's like, it's also, the worst thing is it's like, this is like my review of Malcolm and Marie. Since we start early, this is this is what everyone tunes in for. But here's the thing about Malcolm and Marie. It's about two black actors talking about John David Washington comes back to his movie premiere, and he's talking about being a black filmmaker and this whole thing, and he goes into that, and that's fine. But then you find out the guy who wrote and directed is like not black, and like that's weird. Like, why would you do that, man? Why like why would you write like specifically, like literally trying to make a point about the black experience when you're a white dude? I don't know, man. I don't know. You'd think, and he made that in 2020. I just want to point that out. Like, he's 2020 this year, the year that is this year. But hey, that's on him. Anyway, just, yeah, I don't know. Also, I just couldn't. It was so bad. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick it back up, but, yeah. No, it's the guy who did Euphoria, Sam Levinson. Hey, Sidram, how's it going? All right, let's really get into this show. Fuck it. Let's do it. All right, so first off, before I do the Patreon Discord thing, let me just say this. There is one thing that is going to happen on every show until this is funded. I'm going to tell you this right now. Izzy has a GoFundMe. Hold on. And I would appreciate, as Izzy had a car accident, Izzy from Pizza Party Podcast is right there. I'm going to post the link in the chat. It will be in the description of this and every stream until it's funded. I don't care. because it's my stream. So it's there, and if you are financially able to do so, please do so. I'm probably going to tweet it way too many times. I'm actually got tired and fell asleep when I was going to give to it, but I'm going to do that. So please support that if you are able to. But I would very much appreciate it. I know Izzy would very much appreciate it, and she's an amazing person, and you should definitely help her out in this time of need. So if you just have, I don't know what the minimum is or anything like that. I will let you know next time. But I think that noise was my card. Sorry, because I was playing with them. But yeah, if you can, it's there. It'll be in the description, and I'll be tweeting it and all that stuff. If you financially can't, don't, But it will be. I'm going to be pushing this a lot, so that'll be part of this for now on. In Infinity, I hope it's not Infinity. I hope it gets funded because Izzy deserves, to financially get over a terrible car crash. I think she's okay, but anyway. And I saw Izzy was here earlier, so thank you, Izzy. And I didn't get to go to the stream. I was gonna call her because I was at work, but it was like not. I didn't want to like half-ass doing stuff. I don't like to do that. So they are not new cards. They're the same Godzilla cards. All right, next up, the Patreon. This and everything I do, all the content I make, is supported by you. The viewers, pretty much by viewers like you. I have, if you either through doing super chats during the show, and I will take a chug of Red Bull, which gives me more energy, or through the Patreon, where you can get awesome rewards like more power in the movie review vote, postcards, Skype calls, exclusive videos like learning who wins the movie review vote. I do a video going through that every month. You get exclusive commentary videos. There's going to be a Knockforce commentary coming soon. Cletus the Fetus, all the Cletus the Fetus commentaries are coming out soon, and stuff like that. So if you would like to support the show and support me, and like you've helped me get a computer recently, so thank you all very much for that. But yeah, your support helps me be able to make more videos and helps me make better videos and everything like that. So if you like this content, and are financially able to do so, I very much appreciate it. If not, just giving the video a like that you're watching right now, or subscribing helps support the show. And if you're just watching and on your TV and stuff, and you're not really sure how to do any of the liking and the subscribing, but you find me somehow, thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I have shown Sophie Yo Gabba Gabba. All of it's on YouTube. That needs to go on the next What to Watch. Thank you, Disco Spider, for bringing it up. We've watched a lot of Yo Gabba Gabba, actually, way before WandaVision referenced it. Also, it's a great show for kids. That show should still be on the air, but most of it's on YouTube. Anyway, yeah, also a good reason to subscribe and turn notifications on. I've been doing more instant premieres, or premieres in general for reviews. I want to do one for Close Enough Season 2. That one might not happen. I think I will do one for Raya and the Last Dragon on Friday. I'm trying to do that on various Fridays, and stuff like that. For ones, like I think some of the more serious reviews I might not do them for, but I might do them a little more because it's just like a fun way to get it together and everything like that. And yeah, so if you have notifications on, you will know about that right away, and it helps support the channel, all that stuff. Also, the Discord, which again has been around for 1 year. Holy shit, that's amazing. It has all sorts of great things like Ask Jim. We recently went through, oh man, I forgot to do the shit. I want to do the comment shout out thing. Maybe I'll set that up during the break. Anyway, because there's a good comment I had. I need to do that better. Oh, thank you, Disco Spider. Well, I still like Go Gabba Gabba. But it has all sorts of cool functions like it has General, it has Ask Jim, where you can ask me questions anytime, not just during a stream, but if you think of one on a Tuesday at 3 a.m., you can ask it in there, and I will eventually get to his suggestions. They have movie watches on Friday nights. They have all sorts of cool things that you can get together, talking about movies, gaming, all sorts of stuff. It has 200 members recently, which is really cool. But Austin and St. Powers do a great job. Also, in general, I think it happened in the Ask Jim section. People asked me what happened to the characters of Cletus the Fetus. Now, I will go through actually all of that later before the break. I wanted to put that in the stream as well today, or this week. All sorts of crazy stuff could happen. You find out what happened to the characters of Cletus the Fetus, if that's something that you want. So those things can happen on the Discord. It's a great community, and you should check that out. Link is in the description. Anyway, I don't know what a flame war is. Is that a fire thing or something? All right. So let's. It's 198. Those sellouts left. All right. They're not sellouts. I love you, everyone. You're all good. All right. NYE, the New Year's Eve movie guy? I don't understand. Oh, Jim Nye, like Bill Nye. I just got that. I'm going to talk about Bill Nye and his new show soon, which sounds promising. But first, we got our first images for Space Jam 2. I'm sorry, MBLT. That sucks. That stinks. I wonder if there's a way around that. I don't know. Anyway, so Space Jam 2, the first images came out this week, and you got the new suit. You got, which we sort of already saw. We got LeBron. We got Bugs. We got all these characters, and all anyone wanted to talk about is Lola Bunny, because everyone is mad horny on main for her, and decided that she was not hot enough, I guess. I don't get this. I'm going to say this right now. I do not get... I've never really liked Lola Bunny as much as everybody else. Look, my hot take on this is like, I'm fine with it. I'm pro Lola Bunny. And the other thing is, and I tweeted this, what is everyone looking for with this resolution here? Everyone's bringing it up. They're like, oh, well, I love Lola Bunny, but I don't like this design. But nobody, like, there is not a resolution of this that is going to look good for anybody. So just what? I think she looks fine. I'm not turned on by Lola Bunny. Bugs, he's wearing a dress. No problem with that. But, like, this Lola Bunny thing is weird. It's like, it's kind of like what happened to She-Ra, except like the quartering's not involved. Is he involved? I'm sure he's involved. I don't know. I do not get this Space Jam thing. I'm going to be honest. I don't get the Lola Bunny thing. It's just, she looks like a lady bunny. I don't know. It looks very like now. I think the other one looked very 90s. This one looked, I do not get this, what's going on here. It's so weird. I mean, she looks fine. I don't really understand like why everybody needs to make it. Oh, I saw food poisoning, she just said. That was true. I did catch food poisoning from popcorn. But Space Jam 2 it looks like a dumb Pepsi commercial. It's just, it looks fine. But the how this Lola Bunny thing started, everyone was like, I could tell people were being like so respectful and like bring back, because I guess they want her to have boobs and stuff, but it's like very prominently. But even here's a hot take. So I'm going to look at my own thumbnail because of course my thumbnail is a piece of art. But, hold on. Catbot158 says the 2011 Looney Tunes show did her best, though really it's just Kristen Wiig as the crazy ex-girlfriend. Bring her back, Space Jam. Okay, thank you, Catbox158. Cheers to you. I mean, I guess they always have to modernize her, but okay, I was thinking this today. Alright. So, I'm not like an expert. Well, some say I am. On the female anatomy, I should have done that. I'm so sorry. But, I'm going to tell you, Lola Bunny in the original Space Jam, that was cringe. In the original Space Jam is wearing more form-fitting clothes. However, in the newer Space Jam imagery, she is wearing looser clothes. I don't know if you know the difference between tighter clothes and like looser clothes. They're not good on people, but you notice less stuff with looser clothes. So theoretically, she could be the same. She's just wearing looser clothes, bro. So, did anyone think of that? No one's seen the movie, unless you have, and then send me a link. But, I mean, that's a possibility. How has no one thought of that? She's wearing looser clothes. We don't know. Everyone's like, I just think, I don't know. This whole thing is weird. Everyone is weird. This Lola Bunny thing is weird. What is wrong with everyone? It is a kid's thing. I just don't. What the fuck, guys? I was older when that came out, and I didn't fap to that. I don't understand all of you. This is weird and gross, and I much prefer bugs in a dress. That's perfectly fine. I don't see... I think that's just my wife having a fun time. I just don't... Anyway, moving on. Let's move on from that. Cornbread is right? What did Cornbread say? Oh, now I gotta scroll up. Cornbread is right? What did Cornbread say? But Jim, what are your opinions on the female chicken from Chicken Run? Okay. All right. Moving on. This is hilarious. Okay. Good. Now let's talk about what everybody loves when I talk about it, I've noticed. Not really. I am the anti-furry. That's my job. Every script for Saber, I have to cut out all the furry stuff. I actually don't very, very rarely give notes. It's just like Saber, less furry. So those are all my notes. And that's not really happening. Don't tell him we said this. He's not listening, right? Hopefully. What are your opinions on Billie Eilish? I'm fine with her. I have no... That one song sounded good. All right, so... We actually have a lot of movie theater stuff today. Movie theaters are going crazy, but let's get into stuff that got delayed. Fast 9 has been pushed back to June 25th, 2021. It was going to come out around Memorial Day weekend. It is now not. It is coming out the same day as Venom 2. Venom 2 is going to move. Sony has not said this yet, but I'm sorry, Venom cannot fight Fast and the Furious with John Cena. That's just like the dumbest crap I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. That's funny. That's funny. Scuff 196. Sorry. Yeah, so Venom 2 is going to move. I know it hasn't moved, but to me that's like just... that date became Fast and Furious date. Whatever was there is moving. Minions has been pushed back. It's actually been pushed back not an entire year. I want to be specific. 364-day pushback from July 2nd, 2021 to July 1st, 2022. This makes sense because of all the merchandise pulls they probably want to do, and all the crap in store. Like, there were at the grocery store, there was still like Minion stuff, I think, still out. So it's like clearly a confusion, but I'm sure they're like renegotiating all that stuff. And they do, the Minions movies make a lot of money and they don't want to fuck that stuff up. Hello, Ryan Walchison says, say right now, who'd you simp for? Gadget from Rescue Rangers, Rebecca from Tailsman, or Peg from Goof Troop? First off, Jim don't simp, Ryan. So there's that. But second, Gadget from Rescue Rangers. I don't remember Peg from Goof Troop enough. It would have to be, I guess, Rebecca. Rebecca's probably, from Tailsman's probably one of my thing. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you for that. Cheers to you. I wouldn't sip. I got moves, son. This is getting gross. All right. So anyway, Minions have been moved back, but it's now Memorial Day is open. A Quiet Place 2 came and is going to take that Memorial Day slot. Why do that for A Quiet Place 2? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Will we be ready by then if you've listened to the... Jim is a pimp, not a simp. Oh man, someone make me that t-shirt. Don't though, please don't. But why are they doing that? There's a couple of reasons. Sorry, I won't shuffle my cards. I know they're loud. All right. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about Let There Be Carnage. But anyway, why is Quiet Place 2 taking... Sorry. Quiet Place 2 is taking it because that movie didn't cost anything. So it's not going to take a huge financial hit, despite the fact that I don't think there's going to be a ton of money. And I think more theaters will definitely be open by Memorial Day, but not necessarily enough to make it as big as the first Quiet Place. But same powers, I'll get to you in 1 second. I'm sorry. But the other thing is the 45-day window with Paramount Plus. I will review and talk about Paramount Plus later. Buster and I just high-fived. That was cool. It's more like he's holding my hand. But that's probably why they know it'll come out in June, which will help them. And I know they can sort of write it off and get the hype of a theatrical release, some of the money with a theatrical release. They know it'll be a better theatrical window than it currently is now, which is absolutely true. And those movies don't cost very much, so it's financially, if they lose some, it won't be as huge as like a big blockbuster. So Zane Power says, is Jim a part of the Gadget Russian cult? No, I am not. Although I've told way too many people about that. Cheers to you, Zane Powers. I think I told like a report. It wound it up in like, I think I'm the reason it got on a couple websites because I told a few journalists about it actually. So if that's spread, it is actually a little my fault. But cheers to you, Zane Powers. That's not a joke. It was more like I went like this and he put his paws. Okay. Anyway. So why was Raya and the Last Dragon on the thumbnail despite it being a little more clickbaity? There's actually a lot to say. Hey, Nina Garcia. There's more complications with the Raya release than I even realized until today, which is actually sort of interesting. So, Raya and the Last Dragon. Also I want to talk about how it was way off on the Tom and Jerry thing. I thought, it's going to make something like 40 million. They meant of the whole weekend, and one of the reporters apologized later on Twitter saying we kind of phrased it incorrectly. So anyway, last night Raya and the Last Dragon made 2.5 on Friday and is expected to make only 8.3 out of 2,045 theaters. What happened there basically, and what's happening with Raya and the Last Dragon is sort of interesting. Now, a lot of theaters are open and theater chains are open, but Disney is notoriously scummy in terms of their cut, getting up to 50% of the theatrical gross, sometimes up to 65% when it comes to Star Wars movies, especially if it makes more than a certain amount. They always do that kind of crap. Now, the thing about Raya and the Last Dragon, the thing about movie theaters right now, even in New York, is a lot of them are not opening concessions. They're solely living off of theatrical gross, which is not great for them. As well as the whole, it's on $30 for Disney Plus. Now, so Cinemark, which is the number 3 theater chain in America, has basically said, we're not going to do that because fuck you. And they didn't say it that way, but pretty much they're not going to put up with Disney's thing. Now, this Disney cut has been known publicly for a while. A lot of theaters objected to them doing that with Star Wars very publicly, but still put up with it. And this is the first time we're having a theater chain fight them so publicly. Will says Jeff Nichols doing Quiet Place 3 is still weird. I don't think that's as weird. I think that could be cool, but I agree. I forgot about that, so thank you for reminding me. And cheers to you, Will. I'm glad you're doing well. Hey, Drew A. But anyway, this is sort of a problem, and with theaters kind of hoping that studios would work more with them and seeing their theatrical windows kind of go up in smoke, I don't think they're going to put up with like these extensive cuts anymore. So Cinemark has not made a deal as of right now, as well as other theater chains, which include Cinepolis or whatever, Cineplex, and Harkins. I don't know the last one, but those are still major theater chains in America, which are basically not going to play Raya and the Last Dragon, which is going to hurt it. The other thing that's interesting, and a couple people have, thank you, Drew A lot of people have brought this up, is that the WandaVision season finale is sort of overshadowing Raya and the Last Dragon. And I think that's actually sort of true. What we're seeing is Raya is not getting as much play. I have seen like it's been advertised to the target demographic very well for kids and so forth, but I will say it's not really getting the same oomph that you would have thought it would. I kind of think this isn't the best weekend because although it is, hello Niji Kichu. Okay, here we go. Fun fact, in the Dungeons & Dragons movie, the villain's lair has a cameo of 40,000 real skeletons due to the church it was filmed in was filled with them. Whoa, that was a good one, Niji Kichu. Way to come back. I didn't see that. Cheers to you, Niji. I missed you. Cheers to you. Thank you for that. That was amazing. But yeah, we're not seeing. I think Raya and the Last Dragon should have probably picked a better weekend. This wasn't a good weekend. It's not a holiday weekend. It's not like a Thanksgiving or something, which I think people could have really needed. Things are opening up. More people are going outside, and I think, like, regardless of if I agree with it or not, I think we're going to be seeing this kind of hit a major just I think Disney needs to figure this shit out and not be the bully they were, and kind of work with these theaters and give them a bigger cut, because it's also $30 on your streaming service. Like, this isn't working out for them, and it's unfortunate. And also, I think what also didn't help these negotiations, because this was apparently known throughout the week, is Bob Chapek, who is the it's okay, Niji Kiji, but I'm glad you could make it this time. And I've noticed also, because Disney did not work out these in good faith, a lot of theaters, even though Tom and Jerry, they were upset about the Warner deal. Warner seems to work more. It's interesting because everyone talked about Universal and Warner's and how they weren't considering the theaters. It seems at this point they worked out their theater shit, and Disney just tried to act like they were Disney. And I think because all these theaters are hurting right now, they didn't really appreciate though. I'm glad you're back, Cornbread. But also the thing that added fuel to this fire was Bob Chapek, who did say, who had this quote this week about the theatrical release going forward, saying the consumer is probably more impatient than they've ever been before, particularly since now they've had the luxury of an entire year of getting titles at home pretty much when they want them. So I'm not sure there's going back, but we certainly don't want anything like cut the legs off theatrical exhibition run, which, Disney did make $11 billion in the year pre-pandemic, and they obviously want to continue doing theatrical releases, but it seems like there's been a lot of doubt on Disney, and look at them and their theatrical model and their seriousness about that theatrical model. So we're going to see what's going to happen, but I think we're going to see some changes, and they've always been dicks about it, and no one's really ever liked them acting this way. And I think they're being held accountable, and they should, frankly. They're one of the bigger streaming services. I know they're getting hit pretty hard this year, but I think everyone has, and they've all made a lot of money anyway. So, they still have like the biggest streaming show of the past 2 months. It seems like they've had a lot of success, so I think they should be a little more inclusive, frankly. And this just shows like they're knowing that they need to change and make more money on other ends, but they're not willing to work with the theatrical leg of it. They're just wanting to make money from it. And if that's the case, I don't think that's the right attitude to have nowadays. I think Bob Chapek's going to have an interesting role in this whole thing, because I know he came on pre-pandemic. He was really hit hard by this whole thing, but I think the problem is he needs to push Disney to what they are going to be post-pandemic, and I think he's done a lot of good things, like he likes the Muppets, things like that, but he needs to figure out how to get this to work, and maybe the Bob Iger, Alan Horn bullshit in terms of theatrical, which might not be them, but they've definitely not like helped soften that. He needs to be the guy to soften that, or they're going to not have all the theaters, because they're going to be like, I'll just let Tom and Jerry have all these screens. I'll let these other movies that have more of a push behind them get those kind of legs, and they might just let them do that. Anyway, Daniel Vasquez says, "Hey Jim, I went to Tayo's earlier today to go watch Raya and the Last Dragons, and it was amazing. The theater is nice and very safe." Oh, that's interesting. Thank you, Daniel Vasquez. Cheers to you. New York City theaters open on Friday. They're at 25% capacity. I've not been to the theater yet. I wanted to walk by and see what it was like, but I don't know if I will at this point. At any point, I don't really feel it's safe. However, I will give credit to one person. Liam Neeson has been introducing his movie, I think it's The Marksman, at Lincoln Square Theater, and wearing a mask and being very safe. But look, I know a lot of celebrities haven't been promoting theaters or like helping out theaters. It's rough out there for them, and anyone who's trying to support them, I think we should show some support to, and I think that's cool that Liam Neeson introed his movie and was trying to get buzz for the theater, and I think there are a lot of celebrities and directors who said they were going to do that, and I haven't seen them, but Liam Neeson actually did, so credit to him. I think that's really cool that he did. Apparently, he sort of just was around and did it, from what I've read, but it's still like, hey, you know what? Not a lot of celebrities are doing anything like that. And I think, whether I agree with theaters being open or not, that he's doing that, I agree with. All right. So the other theater thing is Alamo Drafthouse has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. So what's going on with Alamo Drafthouse? The original Alamo Drafthouse, the one in Austin that you probably seen pictures of premieres and stuff, will be closing. But they're basically renegotiating leases. We're seeing a lot of different changes that it's going to happen. They were bought by a equity firm or whatever, which Tim League, who owns Alamo Drafthouse, is also involved in, which is sort of a weird that's sort of a weird situation there that maybe we should sort of figure out. Yeah, but regardless of that's a little scummy. I'm not 100% sure on the legality or the morals behind that one. However, he's found a way to save it. They're renegotiating their assets and asses, I guess. And leases, I know in Brooklyn they were going to do kind of a I know they were going to do an expansion for the one in Brooklyn. I almost guarantee that would not happen. I have not heard anything in terms of like whether it will or not, or I know they're talking about other expansions. I have no idea if those are still happening or not. What's going on? There really haven't been. It's the new. Oh, okay. So there have been other ones, but I'm curious how we're going to see what happens with the chain. I don't think it's going to expand anymore, but we'll see. Marley says, Jim, if our Alamo closes before we get to go together. I know, man. I know. I was worried about. I just think the only repercussions, because it is a popular. The Brooklyn one is very popular. I do think the expansion, because they were going to take over the Century 21 that was there and other things. I think that is not happening. Although there's been nothing. They've not said anything. And I've heard of other locations closing. So I'm hoping it stays. I'm hoping. I don't know if it opened on Friday. I actually didn't check. So I'm hoping, man. That'd be cool. We should do that, Marley. We should. That'd be fun, man. Cheers to you. Cheers to you, sir. But I don't want it to close at all. I like Alamo Drafthouse. I actually had a drink at the one that's now closing, and it had a cool. It's not as impressive as you think it is, but it does look kind of cool. But cheers to you, Marley. But I wanted to survive. The other thing that I read from it that's really scary is Fantastic Fest, which is a great way, like a lot of the yeah, Buster, your hair got in my mouth. A lot of the bigger like genre stuff gets its name at, which has apparently been operating at a loss. Like Alamo Drafthouse has never made money off of it. That might get canceled. So we might actually, that's going to take a major hit in terms of cult movies and VOD stuff, and that's where a lot of like smaller directors got discovered. And there's a lot of doubt being shown on that. We haven't really gotten much info on Fantastic Fest, but a lot of their specialty screenings and things are probably going to be hauled back. So it might just be Alamo Drafthouse in terms of like where you see regular movies and stuff. There has been some doubt, but there hasn't been an official announcement unless there was and I missed it. But as terms of my movie going habits and Marley's movie going habits, I don't think there'll be anything right now that's hurting us other than I thought that expansion would have been great because they could have done more art house stuff. I think art house stuff is going to be really hit by this. And I think they're going to have to find a new home. So, in general. So, yeah. All right. Before we get to... Oh, man, there's so many big things right in a row. God damn it, news. Just like, what's up with it? Sorry. Buster. Oh. I should have a thing to cut away to. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it, Jim? Yes, it would. Why don't you do that? Hello, Adrian Sierra. How's it going? I noticed you've been showing up a lot more. King of the comments there. All right. What? What's this? Go to the basement and find P? I'm very confused. All right. So, Nominia, I think. So we found out this week from a reporter whose podcast I listened to, Jeff Snyder, broke that Nominia, I think, the Blue Sky's final film is looking for a new home. We do know that it was going to have the two of the voice cast, which was going to be Chloe Grace Moretz and shit. I didn't write it down because I thought I knew it, but of course I don't. And Riz Ahmed, sorry, were going to be in it. Apparently, there are two of the three leads. One of the characters, who I don't think is Chloe Grace Moretz, was going to be gender fluid, and was actually was the former lover of Riz Ahmed, and there's going to be a gay kiss in this and all this stuff. And it was going to be far more progressive than a lot of animated stuff for Disney really is at all. And there's been some doubt that Disney might have done it because of that. No one's sure. There is kind of like, most of the reporting is like, here's the fact that we're going to have this thing, and then Disney canceled it. But they are talking to various studios. They're trying to find a way to bring this film, to finish this film, since they're 10 months away from completion, which is still, it sounds like they still had a lot of, are those sideburns real? Yes, I need to cut my hair. It's getting a little ridiculous. I'm sorry. It seems like they are looking for a streamer. I think, honestly, Netflix should take it, because that would be such a fuck you to Disney. And I know Netflix is really trying to hurt Disney in terms of animation. And I know a lot of the streamers are. I think Amazon Prime could work for it also, because they are really doing fantasy. And to my understanding, Nimona is. And various, I think HBO Max maybe, but I'm a little confused. Like, I thought Disney maybe owned it. I don't know the legality of that. Maybe there's a penalty. Maybe there's a contract thing. I don't know. None of the reporters have sort of admitted publicly they have not actually seen the movie, which I think is an important thing to say, because most of them have said, from what everyone they've talked to, and they've talked to pretty much everyone involved, it sounds like an important movie. But they have also said they have not actually physically seen the movie, and there's a lot of movies that sound important they haven't seen. I'm not trying to like shit on this thing. I actually want to see it, but I think that's worth noting that none of us has seen it, and the fact that Disney turned it down, and apparently other studios have been offered it and shown things and have not accepted it, makes me wonder, like, what the fuck's going on. I feel bad for Blue Sky. When I worked on that Blue Sky video for Saber, I did really feel like Blue Sky was kind of turning a new corner in their history, and I was really curious where that was going to go, and it seemed like they were really open to changing as a studio. And I think that might have been felt a little riskier. Most studios kind of try to do sequels as well as change, and they seem to be very much pivoting at a certain point, and maybe that made Disney nervous. But I honestly think Netflix should buy it. This is huge news in terms of the fact that they are still trying, and supposedly are. It seems like they are at least talking to studios. Makes me think there's a way out. Nimona is getting a more fair shake than Mouse Guard for sure. That's true. I think because Nimona is more finished. Man, I really want to know the legality of that. But that's true. I'm curious why they didn't try that with Mouse Guard. That's a good point. Well, maybe because talent was signed or something. I don't know. Cheers to you all. Thank you for the super chat. But the main thing is just like Disney in terms of animation really doesn't do anything that different. I mean, it's like, it's princess, it's this, it's that. They sort of do, but not really. They stay within this realm. This feels radical in terms of what they were doing. Now, again, I haven't seen any of the designs. I sort of know the book. I've heard of the book and stuff, but it seems like a radical change. And maybe Disney, they've had all these chances to expand what they could have done in terms of a studio. And they had a third animation studio, and the first real one that was going to be developed under their leadership that was going to be radically different, they canceled, which I think was a huge missed opportunity for them. It's a huge missed opportunity and really unfortunate. So, Nimona, I think, it sounds really cool. I'm glad someone actually found out like these exclusives about it, and that they are talking to studios. It doesn't seem like streamers have been talked to, but in my mind, Netflix would be where to go. They let Mars Needs Mom finish. They let Mars Needs Moms finish, but not this. That's a good point, Bloxy. That is a good point. Cheers to you, Bloxy. Cheers to you. Mouse Guard. There's a whole thing with Mouse Guard. I can't get into Mouse Guard tonight, but look up the test footage. The test footage is really cool. I wish it had happened. All right, so with Paramount Plus launching this week, we found out there's going to be a Patrick Star show. I think we sort of knew that, to my understanding, it was going to be a talk show, but now we learned more info. It's going to be about his family and him having a talk show together. Man, this thing is like refocusing a lot. I really wish that fucking... It would just... I don't know. It would not do that. And because the chip, there's not a good way around it. I need to work on that. Anyway, sorry. The Patrick Star show basically is his family and Patrick coming together to make a talk show. Basically, his some of the voices of his family will be Dana Snyder, which that's interesting. Actually, I'm excited for that. And we also get the Cree Summer. It sounds like it could be kind of cool. I'm not into all these SpongeBob ripoff spinoffs, whatever the fuck. I just think it's getting a little too ridiculous. I know, like, I don't know. I mean, Kamp Karol is one thing, but it's just like, can we just stop it with this? I just think this is getting to be far too much. And this, although it's, Dana Snyder being in a SpongeBob thing actually sounds really cool, but I just don't think it, other than that, I just don't really see the point. It sounds like it could be an interesting episode, but I just don't really get it. But at least I kind of like this more than just Patrick having a talk show. I will say that. So in terms of like the premise of the show, that sounds more promising than what I knew before, but overall I don't really care for it. All right. Yeah, I did actually learn. I didn't know Dana Snyder was in Penguins of Madagascar until this story. So, all right, let's get into the 2 award shows that we can talk about. The first being, oh man, I'm really moving through this. All right, sorry. I could have just parsed out some of these rumors. Let's get into the Annie Awards. The 48th annual Annie Award nominations came out this week. So what's going on? With that, basically, Onward and Wolfwalkers got a ton of nominations. I tweeted incorrectly, I will say, and someone called me out, and they were right to, and I think I said I thanked them actually for doing that. Was that that whoever wins this will most likely win Best Animated Feature between Wolfwalkers and Soul, but they're actually in 2 different categories because we have Best Animated Feature and Best Animated Feature Independent. Soul is in Best Animated Feature, and Wolfwalkers is in Best Independent Animated Feature, which I think it'll win. You have other nominations in terms of Best Animated Feature, like Onward and Soul. Man, Onward, really? I just don't. All right. Crude's A New Age, which I still need to see. The Willoughbys and Trolls World Tour. And Independent, we have Shaun the Sheep, Calamity Jane on Goku, Ride Your Wave, which I also need to see, and Wolfwalkers. I think Wolfwalkers and Soul will both win, and they'll split. The bigger also thing with this is that we didn't really get anything from Infinity Train. I was actually really shocked to see no nominations for Infinity Train, unless it was in like some subcategories. I've looked through it a couple times, and unless it's like, so I like actually still don't see it. I'm literally looking for Infinity Train. And also, why is Owl House like all the way in character design? What the fuck is that shit? Like, these are just... Here's the thing, is like, I actually, when I look through the best show nominees, there's a lot of good nominees. That says a lot about the faith I have it, and I think how good animation is, especially this year, because you look at best TV show for children, it's Hilda, Rise of TMNT, She-Ra, Star Wars The Clone Wars, and Victor and Valentino, and then you look at the general audience category, and it's Close Enough, Primal, Harley Quinn, Rick and Morty, and The Midnight Gospel. And all those are good shows. Like, none of those are bad shows, but to me, it's like, being, of course, a leading member in the cartoon community. Well, or that old dude in the cartoon community, which is really probably what it is. But anyway, these are not necessarily the shows everyone was talking about. I think Owl House, Amphibia, Infinity Train, none of which got in here. And I think in Infinity Train's case, it's very kind of shocking that Infinity Train wasn't in there. I don't think Rick and Morty really needs any more nominations in any case. I was a little surprised by Close Enough. I like Close Enough, but I probably would have picked Infinity Train over it. It's very disappointing. This whole, that not being in there. But I have to say, like, they did pick some good stuff. It's just like there's not very many of these things I dislike. I even like the Shaun the Sheep movie nomination, all those things. But just like to not nominate Infinity Train for anything, like what? Like to me, that was like one of the biggest shows of the year. I don't know. I mean, I'm happy for Midnight Gospel. I would have also put 12 Ounce Mouse in there, but clearly I am not running things. So I would have done this all different. But it is really disappointing that they did it that way. I think that was kind of I don't know. I think some of those shows could have actually used the nominations, and the communities that have been built around them probably help you get ratings, which now they won't, because why would they? I mean, seriously. Zane Power says you're going to talk about the amazing Golden Globes. I was just about to, so thank you for that transition, Zane Powers. Cheers to you. So for the first time in like seriously forever, I did not watch the Golden Globes. I watched a lot of the clips, and I know what happened. But I didn't watch them because I was sort of pissed off at them this year. And also I was like, I wanted to watch Tom and Jerry and Sponge on the Run and stuff. So that didn't win this time. So, I have a limited amount of time, especially with a kid. So it's like, I know Golden Globes. But I watched Amy and Tina's opening monologue, which was very great. I watched things about pretty much all of them. I think the main things to take away from it is like, I do agree the Hollywood Foreign Press has no black members, and one of their members on Australian TV was basically like, we never really thought about him. Like, you really didn't? Seems like you're dealing with it now. I do still think they should probably have their TV deal canceled. I think that should be over. I think maybe the Critics Awards, but if we're going to have an award show that gets a lot of attention that's not the Oscars, that would be a good one, because at least they're doing more interesting stuff. That might be a better way to go. But in terms of what won and everything, I like that Daniel Kaluuya won. I didn't like that they then didn't have his mic working. It feels like they could have just like gave everyone like a really good technical setup. Like, they give them these huge award bags every year for presenting. Like, just like spend the money if you make all this off of, like, NBC gave them like $60 million for the next couple of years. Like, you can give them a nice Mac laptop with just like make sure everything's working, and have a tech guy right before everyone presents. Like, is your mic working? 1 2 1 2, and then they just do that. Like, I don't understand. Just felt like I could have done a better job with that shit. But anyway, it was nice Daniel Kaluuya winning. I like Chadwick Boseman winning, the actress who won for the Billie Holiday movie. Seems like she is definitely getting more attention in terms of Oscar voting, which I have to say, the thing about Golden Globes, they don't have any members who are also Oscar voters. That rarely ever happens. However, I will say the big thing is getting up there and presenting and doing a big PR thing in front of millions of people. It brings attention to you, which does help voters think about you. So as much as people like don't take the Golden Globes seriously, which I agree with to a certain extent, you are still like right during Oscar voting talking about your movie publicly. It's just, it definitely helps. There's no way around it. Nomadland won Best Picture Drama, and its director, Chloe Zhao, is the second female director to win a Golden Globe, the first Asian female director, or first Asian American director, I believe. Nomadland seems like the Oscar favorite right now. Borat won in both Best Actor and the Comedy Musical and Best Comedy Musical or whatever, which I think in terms of 2020 it deserved, although I would have nominated Eurovision. Chadwick Boseman looks like a total lock for Best Actor at this point, especially after his fiance gave that emotional speech. What were really the I care a lot thing, like I can't, that's another movie I can't deal with. The fact that like someone could come along and just steal someone's rights like that is just honestly horrific. Some of this, like the awful horror movies like that and older, I just like, or younger but old, I just can't deal with. Like, I can watch Cannibal Holocaust, but I can't watch that shit. But it was kind of a weird bag of things. I liked Amy Poehler and Tina Fey from what I saw. I do agree it's like we're kind of reusing them a lot. I think we need to start bringing in new blood in terms of award show hosts. Like we can't just keep using them over and over again. I think there's lots of talented comedians right now who do a great job doing those sort of things, and we need to really consider more of them currently, because I think just reusing the same people, not that they were bad, they weren't bad, they're actually very funny, but I think they would actually agree with me also. I think they're just trying to do the best they could. I don't have much else to say about them. I didn't watch them for once, but maybe I will next year. I'm just sort of, I think everyone's just sort of sick of their shit. And, it should be known that a lot of these people have cocktail hours and stuff with all of the the Hollywood Foreign Press. They've probably known this organization. Like, most of Hollywood has known this organization is a predominantly white organization who's had a lot of issues for a long time, and they've had to be face-to-face with it, and no one's dealt with it until recently. So I think Hollywood is what Hollywood is, but the fact that they've let them exist as long as they have, the way that they have, they should be called into question, but the fact that Hollywood has sort of let this exist for as long as they have is another thing that should also be brought into question. All right, I just thought I'd bring that up because it's true. The Simpsons are back for seasons 33 and 34, which means they will never die. They will speak at our funerals. I saw someone said the show will outlive us all. The show, by the way, has become extremely unprofitable for the network it airs on, but also because its streaming rights are so valuable. The show finds new ways, seriously, to be profitable. It just keeps existing, so there's new profitable avenues that weren't previously there. And it's still syndicated. God, that fucking show is just a mammoth of money. Sidram said, Jim, did you see Sacha Baron Cohen's on Jimmy Kimmel this week? You should. Okay. I did not hear about that, but I will. Thank you, Sidram. And thank you for the super chat. Cheers to you, sir. Okay, maybe I'll check that out. I'm curious about that. But yeah, no, The Simpsons, seriously, The Simpsons are, work out very much for Disney+. A lot of people are rewatching it, as well as it is still syndicated, as well as it does still sell a ton of merch. It's a huge property, and the network it airs on, it is less profitable for, and I could see eventually it just being on Disney+. That is a real situation that we are really going to see. Yes, a Kim Smith, it is still on. The Simpsons, it's no one even knows it's on anymore. I don't know. I've given up on that show, but maybe I should just do a segment that was I watched The Simpsons recently. Here's an episode I watched. Maybe I should do that if I have a week where I really don't have it. It's just because it's so weird to me. Because it really does look like it's they'll finally cancel it. And there's just can we just get it to 35? How about this? If they just say, we'll cancel it at 35, I'd be perfectly happy. Because eventually people are just going to die. Or the voices won't even be the same. We'll be on second generation voice talent. All right. Steven Spielberg has been talking about making the Stephen King book, The Talisman, into a movie for literally forever. Universal actually bought him all the rights to the book in 1982, so this is that is how long this has been in discussion. But he brought the Duffer Brothers on, and they're talking, who do Stranger Things, if you didn't know, who created it and write it and all that stuff, to work on this. We'll see if that comes to fruition. This has been talked about for so long, but it seems like because of all the interest in Stephen King stuff, and he's gotten close a couple times to making them and everything like that, I think that they it seems like Spielberg really wants it, and when he gets hot talent to write something, it feels like he's at least trying to. So I hope this works out. It sounded kind of neat. I forgot the premise right now, but I know it's something he's been really interested in since 1982. So the X-Men rumors. People have been asked, I don't really talk about rumors, but this became such a thing. We do have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. Glad I started early. Let me go on about a bunch of bullshit. But, so there's all these rumors about X-Men stuff. We do know there's been casting. I reported on that before. Zane Power says, when the Simpsons voice actors die, they're just going to reuse old voice clips to speak every word in the English language and Frankenstein their lines. Ugh. That's definitely going to happen. That is what is going to happen. Ugh. Jesus. That is sad. Cheers to you. Cheers, I guess. Now I'm sad, Zane Powers. We killed one Red Bull. Got one to go. All right. So I don't normally talk about these things, but I will say we do know that there's been casting going on with X-Men. We do know they've been talking about it. This whole mutants thing, I don't see Disney not doing something with the branding that is the X-Men. If they're thinking of doing something called the Mutants, sure, it could be a TV show or a Disney Plus show. I think the X-Men works better as a TV show than it does as a movie. So I actually wouldn't mind if it was a Disney Plus show rather than a movie. But I don't think it's going to be called The Mutants. I did not think they were going to introduce it into WandaVision. That was stupid. It was a dumbass idea. But I don't think there's much validity to this Mutants thing. I think it was like something they might have talked about. And someone got a list of titles and they were like feeling it that day. But probably... there's no way they're not calling it the X-Men. Like, for real. Are you serious? Like, that's like if they called Fantastic Four, like, the Richards family. They're not doing that shit. Like, come on. So it's just like really think about it. Like, and I saw everyone's bad Photoshop where they just took out the New and New Mutants. It's like, and most people think of New Mutants when they think of that. It's just, ugh. Anyway, Toonj723 said they still never made an episode where Bart gets a bear. That's, well, you know what? Maybe they can now. Maybe they should listen to that Simpsons. I mean, I'm sure one of you will eventually, who's watching this, write for the Simpsons, just because, you know. Cheers to you. That spoilers that I said the X-Men aren't in WandaVision. That's not a spoiler. Did you really think that was gonna happen? Come on. Did you? Well, I'm sorry. They weren't gonna do that. Cheers to you, Toonj. Alright, so there's going to be... I'm sorry if I upset you, Zane. I didn't think that was a spoiler. I apologize. But you should leave when I do the WandaVision review. I hope Zane Powers is okay. I feel bad now. The Hello Kitty movie. Okay, hold on. What do you think of Dua Lipa's music? Nattenbox64. You always ask me interesting questions, Nattenbox. I like Dua Lipa. It's not... You know what's funny is, like, I heard her on SNL, and I thought it was alright. And then I heard it... No, they didn't appear. Don't worry, same price. And then I listened to it, like, when I was doing errands, and then I've never listened to it again, which is not... Like, I just don't think about it. It's like it's good. It just doesn't stick with me. So, but cheers to you, Nattenbox64. It's like the thing was like, that was fun. And then, like, unless now that you brought it up, I'll probably listen to it and then I'll forget it again. So if you bring it up every week, maybe it'll stick. I have nothing against her. I think she does fine what she does, but it's just not, you know, like I do what I normally do when I listen to female pop singers. So just keep re-listening to the first Madonna album because I'm a weirdo. Anyway, the Hello Kitty movie, I really do that. Hello Kitty, everybody's a good song. I don't give a shit. The Hello Kitty movie is happening with Jennifer Coyle, I believe, and Leo Matsuda, who this is actually going to be a New Line feature, not a Warner Animation thing. And it's the first time that they've, you know, this company has let Hello Kitty become a movie. We don't know much about, like, what the take is. The fact that they're getting two, like, animation people that aren't the biggest names makes me feel like they have a good take. We don't know what that is. They're making a Hello Kitty movie. My thing with this is, like, I think these branded movie things are not what they used to be. They're not as big. They're not as, like, interesting to consumers. And, like, look at the Playmobil movie. I just don't think it'll really, unless they have an amazing take. But this to me feels like something like it's either going to be like the Bobblehead movie or they're just going to throw it on a streaming service. Like, I think this would be fine for HBO Max. So maybe it'll be that. Maybe they're just like, we can find a home for this and make some money off of it. So maybe that's what they're doing. But to me, this feels like something, you know, they're a little 2000 and late for that shit. It'd be cool if Bat Kira got picked up as an animated series. I think that would be. I think I agree with you, Major Mekazawa. So apparently there's been rumors, and I don't know if it was a confirmation or not, that Obi Wan Kenobi will appear in the Cassian Andor show and will appear before the Ewan McGregor one. Will show up before we get to the Obi Wan show. I think that's highly possible. The Cassian Andor show, although that sounds cool to me, a lot of people have said it'll probably need a little more star power to get more people into it, and an Obi-Wan thing actually would. I agree with that. So if that is true, we'll see. But that makes sense. All right, so it's time for... That was bad. But it's time for trailers and stuff, where I talk about really quick movie news, I guess. I have a few trailers. The Not Actually trailer, it was a live-action show that's now animated. The animation looks choppy. It didn't look that great. You go Paramount Plus. The Thunder Force trailer, which is starring man, I'm forgetting everybody's name tonight. Melissa McCarthy and Octavia Spencer. There we go. As two superheroes of women in their 40s. It looks all right. It looks fine for a Netflix thing. I don't know if I'd see it, but it looks like fine for having a beer with some friends or something, which is probably what they're going for. Javier Portello, I hope I'm saying your name right, says Paul Blart show for Disney Plus. Someone put that in the remix. I would love that. That would be cool. And then Obi-Wan can show up in that too, and we can get all sorts of stuff. But cheers to you, Javier. Whoa. Also, next trailer coming up. Without Remorse, which is the Michael B. Jordan, Tom Clancy thing, which you've been hearing about for way too long, is finally coming out on Amazon Prime after they were able to get a deal with Michael B. and figure that out, which they also talked about for way too long. But I will say most of this looks very standard. I love Michael B. I'm going to see anything Michael B's in for forevers. But the thing, Red Bull's hit me, bro. The thing about this trailer that I really liked is the end part where he gets on the car with gasoline, pours it all over the car, lights that on fire, and the car's all on fire. And then you're like, oh, he's just going to walk away because that's a badass thing. He's like, no, fuck that. He's going to go in the car with a gun and he goes tell me their name. That shit is great. That was presentation. You just get a 10 on that. Because I was like, this guy's insane. I like this already. So I think Michael B. can pull off a Tom Clancy thing. I think Tom Clancy stuff's hard to do because I think a lot of people try to be cool when they do Tom Clancy movies, to be perfectly honest with you. And I think Harrison Ford was smart because Harrison Ford realized his protagonist is actually sort of lame. So everyone else who does it tries to be cool, and it never works. And Harrison Ford was not cool, but ended up being cooler by default. And I think Michael B's good, can do that. But also that end scene, I was like, I'm into that. Just do crazy action sequences where I don't think this makes sense. I think what you're doing is suicidal, but it's fun to watch. And that's fine with me. We keep hearing that Falcon, Winter Soldier, and WandaVision actually are only going to be one season. I'm fine with that. I'm a little disappointed with Falcon, Winter Soldier, but I also haven't seen it, so who knows. Okay, and then why do I have no activity for twice in my notes? That's dumb. But I did find out the follow-up to the director of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, and this sounded cool. I have not seen a trailer, but let's just say this logline because I think you would be interested in it. I'm sorry the heater's going off. That this follow-up is a Miyazaki-inspired 72-minute time travel story about a girl befriending her own mom, small and low-key, but perfect in its own way. That sounds great. I'm excited for that stuff. From the director of Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which you should see. That is probably the great romance of our era. Now, let's get into a few other things. There was a lot of... You know what? I was like, there ain't no news. They're news. This is terrible grammar. San Diego Comic-Con, which, of course, has canceled having a convention this year, as well as MomoCon as well. But San Diego is probably going to try to do something in November. I think MomoCon was doing something in December. I don't think cons are happening this summer. I know people are very optimistic about everyone getting vaccinated, but I would just say cross this summer off because it is not happening, unfortunately. They are going to do another virtual thing. It seems like it'll be less days this time. I hope they actually have more exclusives and figure out what to do, because it felt like most of my friends who normally really care about that stuff didn't. And most of like us who like, Infinity Train and 12-ounce mouse and stuff were excited by it. So it's like you need to really figure out how to get those panels to work. I like the panels they had. They were actually cool to like actually hear them. I think that should never go away. But we'll see. I think they need to work on tightening it up. And that seems to be what they're going to do. There was the trailer for the Mike Mignola Kickstarter. It's called Drawing Monsters. You had a lot of cool people in the trailer. You had Rebecca Sugar, good for her. She's looking like she's doing all right. And everybody, Neil Gaiman, all those people. It looks like a cool trailer. The Kickstarter, I think, has made more than it needed to. But if you want to give that Kickstarter, I'm sure it's got good rewards and all that shit. There's going to be a reboot of Silent Night, Deadly Night. The thing with this thing, and I know the original producers are involved in all that. Silent Night, Deadly Night. I've seen a couple of the Santa Claus murder movies. Christmas Evil is the one to see. That is the good one. Silent Night, Deadly Night is not. Just like forget about that one. You can see it. It's fine, whatever. But Christmas Evil is the good one. I really wouldn't mind someone remaking this, because the John Waters theory of like remake a bad movie and make it better. I think you can totally do that with this. But the whole thing with remaking it, I'm sort of like, that's cool. I just hope you make it better. I think some Jeepers Creepers people are involved, and not that creepy guy from Jeepers Creepers. Oh, Adrian's here. I think you mentioned like a short film you worked on. Could you like, if you ever want to, like hit me up and let me know what that is, because I will actually post a link to that. I believe you mentioned that in somewhere, so I wanted to reiterate that. I see everyone just knows Silent Night, Deadly Night for Garbage Day. That's funny. All right, so Fox has actually set What's Christmas Evil About? I forget. I reviewed it. It's hard to remember things when I it's funny is like I go over all this stuff in my head and I can keep it all together, but I can't. Sometimes it's like hard to do. Anyway, sorry. It's about stuff. I will look it up, but I did review it, Austin. Sorry. I totally forgot. So Fox has set, whoa, hello, Will. Oh, well, you got me. See, I was going to do a Gore Verbinski section, Will, but I'll, how about this? I'll move closer to that just for you. I'll do that. Will you review it once it's done when I get subtitles for it? Sorry, Adrian, I don't like to review small things publicly, because it kind of puts me in a bad position, but I will send you a personal review, actually. But anyway, Will says, the news of the canceled Gore Verbinski Bioshock movie this week is pretty disheartening. Cool that he has new projects lined up, though, including an adaptation of George R.R. Martin's Sand Kings, which actually, that sounded, kind of get the old ripple away. That sounded really cool. Thank you for the generosity, Will. I will just shift to the Gore Verbinski part right now, because you did that. So thank you for the transition, I guess. But the Bioshock movie sounded cool. Apparently it was going to be, he was basically like, it had to be R-rated. His agent was like, please don't say that. They're not going to do it. It seemed like they just wanted to make a PG-13 thing. But that sounded really cool. Gore Verbinski just launched a bunch of, apparently it was because another Collider was breaking new, like, I know like Collider, first off, cheers to Will. I know Collider's kind of looked down upon, but the Minia news and all the Gore Verbinski news was from them. Those were broken from them. And I was actually thinking earlier today, I was like, they did really good this week in terms of like finding out stuff, discovering things about the industry. So props to them and what they're doing. Because I know like a year ago, I think we were all like, fuck that. Like, what happened to their shows? All right, hold on. Let me do the Gore Verbinski things. So the Sand Kings thing, this is the Gore Verbinski section. The Sand Kings thing is a George R. R. Martin story. We're seeing a lot of George R. R. Martin is becoming the new Stephen King in terms of like, let's just get every property we can because of the Paul W. Sanderson thing. Now the Gore Verbinski thing. What it is about this guy who collects rare animals. He collects these animals called the Sand Kings basically, and they become as big as their environment is. They get out of their environment and get into the house and become bigger and becomes like they need more food. It sounded like a cool premise, and I think Gore Verbinski would do a good job with that. As well as he's announced 2 animated films with Roger Deakins, who Roger Deakins, first off, amazing cinematographer. He's one of the greatest cinematographers, if not the greatest cinematographer alive and working today. However, also, he worked on things like WALL-E and How to Train Your Dragon. He's been a visual consultant and a lighting consultant, teaching animators how to use lights on film for he's the guy they go to usually in terms of Pixar and DreamWorks. So him working with Gore Verbinski, that sounds like a beautiful animated film. So I'm very much for that, as well as what I said about the BioShock thing, which will beat me too. So that I can't really talk about. As well as Gore Verbinski did make, Rango. So there's that. But he wasn't really very... Gore Verbinski wasn't talking about it too much, to be honest with you. He wasn't going into it, but to me, it sounds like a very promising idea. And I like that Gore Verbinski's working on kind of cooler stuff, but the Sand King thing sounds really cool, and the anime stuff with Roger Deakins I also think sounds cool. And also, I don't love the Pirates movies, but I like Rango, and I think a lot of people would like another animated film from him. I think that could be really cool. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot about the Weatherman. Thank you for that, Adrian Sierra. I like having you here. This is nice. Okay. Fox has set summer premiere dates for anime shows not on Sunday, which is the first time they've done that. Deakins did do Rango. I should have remembered that. Thank you for that, Embla T. That we're going to get Duncanville is going to premiere actually a 2-episode the second season premiere, sorry, and Housebroken are going to premiere on a Monday, May 31st, which is not on the regular Sunday thing. It seems like they're going more towards animation. I believe, to my understanding, these are not Disney Fox things, these are Fox things, but it sounds like they're expanding more into animation, and we're going to see more of that bleed into the rest of the week. Hold on, I'm getting some super chats, which I definitely should respond to. Gore Verbinski made a better live-action Tom and Jerry than Tim's Story. I see what you did there. You know what? I'm not going to disagree with that. That's accurate. Man, I haven't seen that in a long time. Ryan, good job. That was clever. Cheers to you, Ryan. Oh, he called me Patches. Will said, not just Biochopping by Verbinski's infamous Spaceless, which was going to star Sebastian Chan. At that point, that had an interesting concept. It did. I need to read into that, but that I sort of remember that. Anyway, that is true. Gore Verbinski has a lot of cool stuff. It's interesting how powerful he is, and yet he still, 1, makes interesting auteur stuff, and 2, gets turned down a lot, despite, he did kind of create the Pirates movies. He has actually, has won an animation Oscar. I've noticed the auteurs that are kind of like him and George Miller, do interesting, weirder stuff, have a harder time. Probably because they have more of a personality. That's probably why. But anyway, cheers to you, Will. Thank you. These are some good super chats. Thank you for your generosity, everyone. And thank you for the interesting stuff to talk about as well. Tim's Story doesn't know how to make us. I wish I had said that. Awesome. All right. Cheers to you, Will. And there we go. All right. Anyway, I wanted to talk about this because I noticed. Do we need to explain to Jim what BioShock is? It's like an app game for the apps, isn't it? Like the Pokemon Goes. All right. So Lone Ranger wasn't. So Peacock has ordered a Bill Nye series called The End is Nigh. What is actually cool about this is not just that Bill Nye is getting another show and it's now on Peacock. It is going to be directed by the showrunner of Cosmos, Brandon Braga, and apparently it's going to explore various epic global disasters, imaginable both natural and unnatural, with each episode of The End is Nigh explaining the mystery and reality of such threats as viruses, volcanoes, asteroids, authoritarianism, climate change, and chemical warfare. What I like about this is I like Cosmos a lot, actually. Neil deGrasse Tyson, a little less. And I think that is actually a really cool idea for a show, is do Cosmos, with all that production value and stuff, but with Bill Nye. Doesn't that sound cool? This sounds like if this was a show, I actually liked Cosmos a lot. for a little bit, and until it's just like he's sort of gross and he sort of annoys me at this point. But I do like learning things. But if Bill Nye had a show like this where he's like has that production value and all that, although Bill Pope worked on Cosmos, I didn't see Bill Pope on this, but still, this sounds like a cool idea. I think Bill Nye could really like push himself to the next level, which it seemed like Netflix just didn't really work out as well. This sounds like I'm excited for this show. I'm legitimately like I wish there was more talk about this show. So anyway, so I have watched some iCarly. I will say that because I heard it was funny and I checked it out and I did like it at the time. But it was interesting to hear Jannette McCurty has talked about how she is embarrassed of her work as an actress and she's actually quit acting and is more doing directing. If you read more about this, it's basically how she kind of fell into acting as a kid. Her mom wanted her to. She was making a lot of money. She was supporting her family. And she basically, it wasn't something she necessarily wanted to do, which happens with child actors, actually. It doesn't sound like she's going to come back for the reboot. I think everyone, I don't think anyone in this chat, you guys all seem like nice people, have not tried to harass her or anything like that. But let's just like let her go off and do her thing. I think a lot of times with child actors, it's sort of a complicated thing because maybe from her mom's perspective, no, she wanted to go those things. She really loved it. But at a certain point, she realized she didn't want to do it. I know there was drama with her on Sam and Cat I kept reading. I don't know how true any of that is. But if that's her choice, let's all respect that. I think that is, I don't know. I'm glad that she kind of came out and was very honest about it. She's like, I just want to be behind the scenes. I like doing this. I don't want to act anymore. I feel like often with these sitcom stars, they're like, just come back. Just just come. We just want you to come back. But in my mind, it's like, she's basically like, I don't want to do this. It was a weird thing when I was a kid. Just let him be. And I think, that's what I think. So, but I appreciated her honesty because I feel like people like the Olsen twins and stuff, they don't want to talk about it and they don't have to. No one has to do an interview, by the way. But I know they're going to do a reboot and I'm not saying any of you guys did. I'm sorry if that was weird or anything. I'm just saying in general, y'all are nice people. You're nice to me. You're probably nice to everyone else. So in news that I think is cool, David Simon, who I've never done a review of The Wire or of Homicide: Life on the Street. I'm a big David Simon fan, and I like David Simon's stuff a lot. And he's doing a new Baltimore show, which means I'm gonna watch all of it and be way too extra about it. But it is about basically the gun task force in Baltimore, who at first were supposed to help crime and stuff, and ended up doing the reverse. It sounds like I think David Simon coming back to Baltimore stuff is something that needs to be done, and Baltimore as a city is not in the greatest shape at all, and so like I think it's something he needs to talk about again because I think it could use that voice, and he is just really good at making shows about Baltimore. He's just, I think to me there's I know Levinson is a director from Baltimore, but there's only two directors who can talk about Baltimore, and that's David Simon and John Waters. That's my words on it. So Chloe Zhao, we're hearing, okay, so this probably gets into things that I probably should not talk about, but I thought it is worth talking about, or at least in my mind it was, that, Chloe Zhao, who directed Nomadland, after she won the Golden Globe, was getting a lot of positive press in China, actually. But apparently because she has said things about China in various interviews, which the magazine then took down, and that they don't feel like she was actually born in China and stuff, and their various nationalist ideas, they first were promoting her, and now they're like against her, which is such a weird thing that I don't fully get, to be honest with you. But I find that disappointing because to me it's like, can't we just like pump up creatives? Like our whole reason is like, oh, she was critical of our country, and I don't know. I don't really understand Chinese culture fully, and I shouldn't be talking about it, but I just find it unfortunate for her because I thought, her winning was a really positive thing, and I want to see Nomadland and all those things, but found that to be disappointing. So I just found it, it's like people are shitty in every country. I guess that's the moral from this. Oh man, I gotta wrap this up soon. I forgot about the Bad Trip trailer. Hold on. I think we're only going to talk about a few things. Oh, yeah, we're almost done. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Nattenbach 64. I found out that the short-lived spinoff So Random will turn 10. It really should have been made after Demi left Sunny. I don't know what that means, but congratulations to So Random. Cheers to you, and cheers to you, Nattenbach 64. Thank you for the super chat. I moved that. Well, there was a bad trip trailer. It still looks cool. Eventually, this movie that was out, but then isn't, but then is again. It looks kind of fun. Turner Classic Movies is doing a cool thing where they're going to look at movies that have been sort of are considered controversial or problematic, some of them being Gone with Wind, Psycho, and give them their proper context in terms of like what they mean to film history, as well as explain why they are problematic. I think that is actually healthy, and I notice HBO, Max, and Warner Media and Turner Classic Movies are allowed to explain like, hey, you know, this movie is important because of this, this, and this, but this is also why it's problematic and offensive to people, and that isn't okay. So I like that about that. I do think also for some of them, like Gone with the Wind, most of the reasons, by the way, that it is considered influential, you could just like put Wizard of Oz in there, and you could just like take Gone with the Wind out. Like it's all like it's like this huge peak of 1939. I mean, let's be real, Wizard of Oz is like way better. So Gone with the Wind you can kind of knock down, even though I do think Gone with the Wind's a good movie, but and a phenomenal epic, and I mean, I guess it is very influential. And Psycho is very influential as well. They do have problematic elements, but I'm glad they're talking about them in a healthy, constructive way. I think that's really good. That's one of the things that's really great about Turner Classic Movies is it gives you the proper context. I think they're doing about 18 movies, and I like that they're still showing these films. These aren't canceled or anything like that. This isn't like about cancer culture. They're still like, we're going to show the movies, and we're going to explain why they're problematic. We're going to explain their history. I think that's really cool. Turner Classic Movies is still killing it, and they had that awesome RoboCop logo recently that someone made. I don't have much to say on. Apparently, there's going to be a Helsing live action feature film from one of the screenwriters of John Wick. I don't know what that is, but that sounds kind of neat. So we got Elliot from Earth is a new show coming to Cartoon Network for a 2-week premiere event starting on March 29th. I have not watched if there's a pilot of this, but from what I've seen of it, looks kind of cool. Maybe around then I will relook at the pilot and review it. That might be a cool idea. If there is one, I'm sure someone will tell me if there is. And so we heard before the pandemic happened about an Eddie Murphy kind of stand-up thing. Sorry. Oh yeah, we only have a couple stories after this. About an Eddie Murphy stand-up return. He basically kind of admitted that after Dolomite and Saturday Night Live, there was a plan to do a Coming to America when it was originally going to come out, and then he was going to go back to stand-up. All that got delayed, so it sounds like that will still happen. And then we heard about Bros, which is the Billy Eichner. It's going to be the first openly gay man to star and co-write his own major studio film. It'll be a romantic comedy and will feature 2 gay leads as they each try to probably stumble towards love, that is, if they can find the time. They're both very busy, which sounds kind of cool. I hope this turns out pretty cool. I don't know. That sounds like it could be interesting. Hey, Sam Satine. How are you doing? All right. And then, final thing before we do the Obits is there was announced that apparently at one point Katsuhiro Otomo's Domo manga was almost directed in a live action film by David Lynch. It had a deal with Lucasfilm, and then somehow someone from Lucasfilm who knew Lynch was trying to get it made, and there was a certain way it got through, but that I found out in the Discord, and I found it incredibly fascinating. It's kind of minimized because of the way David Lynch tells Return of the Jedi story and stuff. How much, like, for a while he did want to make a big movie. Like, that's why he got Dune. Like, I don't know. I've heard contradictory evidence from the way he pretends like, oh, I didn't want to do Jedi and Star Wars. And then it's like, but you did Dune. And I've heard him circled around a lot of big movies. So I'm always wondering what the deal is with that. But I think that would have actually been really cool. All right, so let's do the obituaries. And we do have some. Oh, Zane Powers, Jim, what about the J.K. Rowling thing we discussed? That is true. Well, I think. Well, first, cheers to you, Zane Powers. I know that they're trying to. I mean, the thing with the J.K. Rowling stuff is one, it's a video game that I don't really play, but it sounds like they're trying to distance themselves from her, from Harry Potter the brand, while she is still making money and they're still profiting off of it. I don't think there's any way you can actually do that, and I think it's sort of a moot point at this point to try to act like you can include. You can like somehow keep the brand away from her. The only way you can do that is to kick her out of Warner Brothers, and they're not going to do that. So the fact that they're doing that kind of shows me that there's no way you can really do that, regardless of what you do with the video game and the developers and everything like that. To me, it's just like she's just associated with it, and there's just not much you can do. I think older stuff you could say, well, I didn't know that at the time, and that's part of my childhood and stuff. But the newer stuff, I just don't see that. I don't really think you should be doing stuff. Anyway. All right. Sorry. I hope that was a good way to say it, Zane Power. Sorry. I did. I guess I just forgot to put that, but I didn't really have much to say beyond that element. I'm not really good at gaming, to be honest. All right, person. All right. So obituaries. We have the person who plays the manager of Spinal Tap, and this is Spinal Tap, Tony Hendra. Died recently. I think he was part of one of the greatest comedies of all time, and played with all of Spinal Tap. He was really hilarious in that. I think he, I don't know. That's very sad because I really like This Is Spinal Tap, and I didn't really see him in much else. I think I have seen him in a few things, but he gave an amazing performance, and he was really funny in that. And then we have Joan Weldon, who is in the movie Them, which is one of the great monster movies of all time, really, and it's sad to have lost her this past week. And then Jameel French, who is on Degrassi, but I never. No, I read your Adrian Sierra. I read your comment last week. Actually, I read your whole comment about that last week. So we did do that last week. Actually, just so you know, I did read your whole comment. But Jamel French, who was on Degrassi, not on any of the Degrassi Next Generation that I watched, but was on it and died this past week. Anyway, all right, so I should use the bathroom real quick, and then we'll do WandaVision episode 9. I hope I covered the Harry Potter thing. I don't think... See, the problem is I'm not good at the video game stuff, and there's clearly like a lot of things, so... I think I thought I could do it, and then I was like, maybe I'm not so good at that. All right, where's the... And I wanted to read the... Sorry, I'm just like scrolling through my Twitter to the Cletus stuff. Should I read that now? Let's read that now real quick. No, it's okay, Adrian Sierra. But anyway, Zane Powers, I hope I did justice to that. Apologies. All right, so here, let's go through the whole... What happened to the Cletus cast? Why not? Before I go to break. So basically, someone in the Discord, I forget who actually, but this is a reason to be on the Discord. Someone asked me what happened to the cast of Cletus the Fetus. If you didn't know, there was a cartoon I made in the early 2000s before Knock Force. But basically what I said was Cletus moved to New York and lives in Brooklyn with his wife, and kids. He also has facial hair now. I imagine like a goatee or something like that. We found out, I just put Earl probably likes Trump. I imagine Earl voted for Trump, to be honest with you. Athena, I said left town and married some dude or something. Cletus and her still text. Mr. McKay's dead. Melvin has a corporate job that he hates, but he does it to support his family. He has 2 daughters and lives right outside of DC. So, because I assume it all took place in Maryland, I guess. Anyway, that's what happened with Cletus the Fetus. Cletus game, probably never. All right, I will be right back, and And then we'll talk about Wandavision, Paramount Plus, and Kamp Karol, and do questions and all those wonderful things. And yeah, you stay golden, I guess, until I get back. All right, cool. There we go. Whoa. You okay? Alright, Buster. You want to leave or you want to stay? Buster? Okay. Alright. Alright. I feel bad about the Harry Potter thing. I feel like I wasn't... Anyway, sorry, Zane Powers. I feel like... I hope I did you right. In some regard. You know? Anywho. All right. Why is Twitter still there? I looked at it like, okay. So let's just get into it because we have 3 segments, and that's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff. I'm going to watch any good movies lately. Judas and the Black Messiah was pretty good. I think that was the only thing I gave a good review to this week, right? Am I right? That's probably like not review wise, but in general. I mean, I don't know, man. That's mainly what I watched. You know? Alright, this is just to keep me going. Alright, let's do this. Anytime I start early, just... Alright, so this is WandaVision time. If you've not watched WandaVision, then leave, or you can mute it, but I'll put spoilers in the chat because I'm going to talk about it. Hold on, spoilers, and I'm going to wave, and if you want to mute it and listen to something else for a little bit, and I'll wave again when I'm done talking about WandaVision. So I'm going to do that right now. Okay. So I found this finale sort of interesting in that I liked it while I was watching it. I found it a lot better, but then immediately when it was done, I didn't think about it at all. It made like no impression on me whatsoever. Oh, and Wave. Sorry. I should have waved. Sorry. But I didn't spoil anything. But sorry, Buster's hair gets all over me, and then I'm talking, and this doesn't happen when I'm just like sitting editing, because then the hair doesn't get in my mouth, does it? Your hair is everywhere, Dashboard Professional. But I think it worked very much like a season finale. It worked very much like a comic book finale, basically, like the end of an arc kind of finale. And it was the ending, I guess, the story necessarily in superhero story needed, but it sort of felt like an ending that didn't acknowledge a lot of things that needed to be acknowledged, but did the superhero ending. We got to the superhero ending, but we didn't get to necessarily the story ending. And to me, that was, like the fights were all great. The Vision fight was, I love the Vision stuff. I like that in the end of Age of Ultron. That's like old sci-fi stuff. Like, let's have a theoretical debate and then punch each other and stuff. And I actually really like the Vision stuff. I thought the Vision stuff was probably the strongest of that whole episode. I like the Wanda and Agnes fight. I thought that was like pure Marvel kind of superhero things right there. But as soon as like the Wandavision and dealing with like what she did to this town comes up, the show sort of like takes Wanda's side and doesn't really talk about it. And then you're just sort of sitting there like, wait, so like, why didn't you properly deal with this? Like, it seems like there's a much more interesting narrative under the fact that it's like, well, she was actually sort of a horrible person because she stole these people. And like that one woman talking about like her 8-year-old daughter is like stuck in a room. Can you let her out? And like, I just want to like hold her. Like, that was heartbreaking. And then it's like the narrative just like moves on. It's like, but isn't Wanda and her family fighting people really cool? And you're just sitting there like, what? Like, what the fuck? Like, I mean, the whole thing with this is basically like you find out she like basically enslaved all these people, and you're supposed to like sort of let that go, and then like, but hey, the suburbs, and then like basically she enslaved all these people, but like as long as her family are safe, it's fine, which is like a great metaphor for the suburbs, I guess. But it just, I didn't understand like what they're doing with that, what they're trying to say within it. It just felt like they just found a conclusion that sort of worked for what they thought would work for it, but it didn't like explain certain things, didn't work for certain things. I just I don't think Agatha forced her to say that. I disagree with that. I mean, I don't know. It does feel like very much the Marvel thing is like not a lot of these heroes are felt accountable. I don't know. But it was heartbreaking. I think the end parts, it like hits you where it needs to hit you to make you believe this narrative sort of worked, but like it didn't. But like it does hit all those beats very well. Actually, it kind of like, one of the interesting thing is that episode, was it last episode with Agatha, where they like go through and sort of like try to narratively explain the whole stupid thing. Like in this one, it felt like they actually got away with it more. Like in that one, it felt like explanations. In this one, it's like, oh, we actually did it. And it almost felt like they got away, specifically like the putting the kids to bed thing. I thought that was like completely heartbreaking and worked very well. Things I didn't like particularly is also, why have Monica Rambeau in this? It like that like completely was confusing. Like, why even have that? Like why have her? It's like you kind of just had like the typical like black sidekick kind of character, and you kind of didn't want to acknowledge that and didn't want to fully utilize her. It's almost like maybe you just shouldn't have had her in this, or like given her own like special to introduce herself. It felt like sort of like you didn't fully utilize her and just sort of did this like black hero sidekick trope and didn't do anything with that. And I found that like insanely disappointing. I mean, I know she had that one heroic moment, but it's like, why have that character in here? I did like the two kind of the two mid-credits sequences. Like the mid one you have with her and the you find out about the scroll and all that stuff. That was interesting, but it's also like I wanted more with Monica. I wanted to understand more of what was going on there. And then with but I did like the Wanda thing at the end, because that's basically like leading directly into the multiverse of madness or whatever that Sam Raimi's directing, and the fact that we're setting up a Sam Raimi movie with a house in the middle of the woods with a magical book is like absolutely perfect for me. And they had the Oz Great and Powerful reference, which I don't think as a Sam Raimi fan you should ever bring up. But I will say and the boner thing I thought was funny, but I get that everyone was disappointed. I didn't really need all my theories to be answered. I just sort of wanted this narrative to sort of find its way a little bit, and it sort of did, but in like a clumsy way where like what was going on with Darcy necessarily, like what was the deal with that bad guy, like it just felt like certain things weren't fleshed out enough to hit as hard as they could, but they actually sort of found a way to get that to seemingly like it would work. And I sort of respect them for finding a way to make it feel like it worked, even if it necessarily didn't. Maybe that's like the sitcom in it, or maybe it's just like they, realized they had to sort of pretend like they stuck the landing. And I think they did in this at least. But I don't think I really like the show. I don't think the show will hold up if you're not watching it week by week, because you'll probably be like, this is a mess. And I'm hoping Falcon and the Winter Soldier is a lot better than what this is. This was very ambitious, but I don't think its ambition was as strong as really its like core storytelling, and it really should have been if you wanted to have that ambitiousness stick as much as it really did. Stick as much as you wanted it to, and I just don't really feel like it did. But I feel like this finale, probably one of the better episodes. It had more promise, it had more interesting, fun stuff in it. It just like overall I felt this show was kind of way too much of a mess for me, and just kind of a weird, interesting idea for something to do with the MCU, but I think if you're really going to push it and expand it, you have to actually tell a good, amazing story with it. And I don't think story-wise this worked as well as maybe its ambition did. All right, so you can have I'm glad you had a fun time this channel, Foga. But anyway, spoilers over, or I do this. No, never mind. Anyway, spoilers over. Sorry I was so critical of that show. All right, so let's talk about Paramount Plus, because that's what we're going to talk about now. So, Paramount Plus. I don't know what happened to White Vision. Sorry, Sunspot Mel. You didn't need to retract that. All right, so Paramount Plus launched on Thursday or Friday, and I checked it out, and I have to say it is definitely one of the more disappointing streaming service launches, particularly for a main streaming service from a major corporation. To my understanding, this was just a simple rebrand of CBS All Access. I never had CBS All Access, so I can't talk on that at all. But what I saw on it was kind of interesting because it felt sort of tried to be organized. They have some categories like TV and movies and live TV, and then they have a thing called brands. What's brands? You scroll down and then you see things like MTV, Comedy Central, things like that, Nickelodeon. And so like instead of calling them channels, they call them brands, which is such weird corporate speak. They didn't have a great, like, Star Trek is all throughout it. There's a section for Star Trek and TV, but they should have just a tab for Star Trek, considering how many Star Trek things they have on this. Like, it would just be easier if they're just like, here's the Star Trek tab, Paramount, you are so proud of Star Trek. Where it's not just the shows, but it's the shows and the movies. I do think could be popular because CBS in particular has a lot of gigantic shows, not just like in America, but internationally, particularly with things like NCIS and things like that. So I could actually see this becoming bigger if they have a little more promise. But from watching it, like, it was interesting seeing Sponge on the Run there. It was interesting seeing a lot of other things there, but they don't really seem to understand how to do catalog stuff very well. Like, Paramount has a long history of movies, and they didn't have a lot of classics in there. They did have War of the Worlds. I did find that, but I didn't see a lot of other stuff. And it's like, why have this huge library that you needed? Like, that felt insanely disappointing. It did have some interesting stuff like Wonder Chosen season 1 was on there, although I didn't see episode 7, but I've heard other people say they did, so maybe it just wasn't loading for me or something. I don't think I've ever seen Wonder Chosen on a streaming service, so kudos to them for launching with that, by the way. That's pretty cool. But then we have some weirder... And then they also have Race for Your Life Charlie Brown and Bon Voyage Charlie Brown, which I haven't seen on a streaming service. It was pretty prominent, too, which I thought was kind of nice, giving some of the Charlie Brown movies. And then they have weird things like Comedy Central is really... Oh, it's okay, Sunspot Mill. They didn't really have a good thing with their comedy movies. So one thing, if you go to Comedy Central and you just check on like everything they don't have so many shows as they have like a bazillion comedy specials, which is fine if you like that. I wish they just had a section that's comedy specials, because that also bleeds into like comedy movies are mainly the comedy specials, which is like not all of them like came out in theaters. Like if you had the Kevin Hart one and like Eddie Murphy's Delirious and stuff, be like sure, or the Richard Pryor one, but not every one is a movie. And it just got like sort of confusing. It's like, I just want to watch comedy movies, man. I don't want these comedies. And there's just like bad organization at that point. I see a super chat from Will said, for some reason, Scott Frank's The Lookout is on there. Really? Yeah, I noticed sometimes that's the other thing. Thank you, Will, for bringing this up. And cheers to you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for your generosity as well. The other thing is sometimes it just felt like they'd have a weird random movie. Like they have some 90s stuff. They have some stuff like that. It doesn't feel like they have like Netflix and even HBO Max is very pointed at the certain demos they're going to. It seems like I heard a long time ago, a thing about Netflix was that they had their fingers on a lot of different pies. And this doesn't, it feels like they want to be mainstream. They sort of want to be cult, but they haven't really decided which angle to go in. If they decide to be totally CBS All Access or CBS or whatever, that's fine. But it just feels like they have a lot of opportunity. Like they have Beavis and Butthead, they have Daria, things like that. But they're not like pointing you in either direction. It's like it was hard to navigate things of that nature. I didn't really like it. They like, for example, they had Crocodile Dundee 2 and 3, but not 1. Like, what? Really, guys? Like, how am I going to complete the Croc trilogy? I just think some of the options were kind of boring, and I didn't really like it. And then, and this leads into our next segment, Kamp Karol wouldn't load. Like, I got other things to load, like Sponge on the Run, which I didn't watch. I watched on French Netflix. And other things, but Kamp Karol actually wouldn't load. So I actually had to review Kamp Karol on this. I had to watch Kamp Karol on YouTube. I couldn't watch Kamp Karol on Paramount Plus. But I think Paramount Plus, basically the problem is like HBO Max didn't have its selections and felt like a mess in a certain case, and now it's like slowly become much more of a fit. It's like grown on me. Paramount Plus, like I scrolled around and I'm already immediately thinking, like, I had to put a card on there. I'm immediately thinking, like, this week, Jim, remember to cancel it. So it's basically like, it's not even going on my Roku. Like, this is something that I like the way we watch TV. It might. Oh yeah, and that's the other thing. Wait, they have Grease 2 and Grease Live, but not Grease. What is going on? Like, why have the whole franchise but the one? That's so weird to me. Cheers to you, Tune J723. It just, oh, and that's the other thing is, like, I looked up their kids stuff, and they didn't have a lot of the stuff like Sophie watches. It's on Nick Jr., which was actually, for real, that was one of the reasons, because they heard they're killing off all their, like, sub apps, basically, like the Nick Jr. Roku thing and stuff. I thought, oh, well, if they have all the stuff they barely have on Nick Jr., that'd be great. And they didn't have a lot of her shows that weren't on there anymore. And so that was something that sort of killed it for me. And I don't understand, like, why am I paying for fucking commercials? Like, guys, like, I understand you do that with cable, but, like, give me a free option then. Like, there should be a free option if you have an ad sales team. Like, Peacock has a free option, and I use Peacock mainly to watch just the Amber Ruffin show. But still, like, I use that service sometimes. And with Paramount Plus, like, I'm just going to definitely cancel it. Like, I might pick it up later if they have, I'm interested in the offering and stuff. But I just think right now, What? David Hyde Pierce isn't going to be in the Frasier sequel? I'm sorry. What the fuck? I didn't know about that. Well, then just fuck that. Also, hello, Super Kirby, dude. I didn't really see the use for it. And here's the other thing about it is like Tubi became big because of all the weird shit they had on it. And this, other than Wonder Chosen, which is very promising, and I will give Paramount Plus a lot for having the season of Wonder Chosen. Check out the 30-day free trial, watch Wonder Chosen, then just cancel that shit real quick. But just like that is something that I'm like, oh, I'm interested in that. It just, other than Star Trek, which I understand is sort of a cult thing, but not really. They're not really appealing to like the weirder cult stuff. They're not trying to get multiple different fan bases. They're very targeted in terms of certain ones and sort of ignoring the rest and slightly acknowledging the other ones. It's sort of like doing a streaming service without actually getting into the economics of actual streaming. And I found that to be sort of disappointing as a viewer because it didn't feel like a streaming service like Tubi, which I fall in love with, which I also think they own, Viacom and all that stuff, that those are able to appeal to multiple demographics in my own house. And this one kind of kept failing till I eventually just wanted nothing really to do with it. So I think in terms of one of the major ones, it's like a little above Quibi, but not by a lot, because I actually watched things on Quibi before I canceled it. So, all right, so Kamp Karol. Let's get into Kamp Karol. I will say this about Kamp Karol. I've only watched one episode. So if you think this is a review of anything that is other than that episode, then you are wrong. Also, I don't have Patreon questions. So after this, we will get into questions, but do not post them just yet. I think because Lupin is not a Studio Ghibli film. That is why it is not on that. Not on HBO Max. R.I.P. Woman at the Golden Hour. No, Roku will bring it back, Marley. Don't worry. I have a comment. Should I read it? Unless it's fuck you, Jim. Oh, okay, I'll read this. This movie is as perfect as that said. Most of us just want to at least see it because it's a lost part of film history. There's already been so many theories and docs about. Oh, okay, that's by Shining Lost Film File, which people still watch, actually. All right, I don't know why I read that live, but there we go. All right, so Kamp Karol, this is just a review of the first episode of Kamp Karol again. I don't hate the theme song. I want to say that right off the bat. But one of my things with it is I kind of, I know I was like, let's not be so hard on it. I think a lot of animation fans don't think about its target demographic, which is little kids. But it's sort of, when I was watching, I was like, but don't little kids already watch SpongeBob? So, like, why would you need this, though? Like, it just seems a little weird to me. And it also occurred to me, SpongeBob as a character is like an adult that acts like a little kid. So the whole point of having a little kid act like a little kid seems like you sort of lost the point, basically. I do think they found a way to recontextualize that character, and like he's just a really fun, enthusiastic kid, and he doesn't seem like as out of it in comparison to the rest of them, and they found a good way to do that. But overall, this show is sort of reminds me, and like I was saying for a long time, what I thought it would probably do is remind me of what the Muppet Babies reboot did. And I don't think the Muppet Babies reboot is great, but anytime I watch it, I'm like, that's a decent, fine, good kid show. But like, I never think about it. It's sort of like, it's decent enough where it doesn't offend you as a parent. The kids are mildly entertained, and then it's over. And I think that's the same thing with this. It was like fun. It had like the Patrick kind of delaying the jellyfish, because the first episode is about SpongeBob doing his first time he's going to catch a jellyfish and how excited he is and all that stuff. And Patrick keeps delaying that. And that joke was a little funny. But I just don't think like a little kid would pick this over watching regular SpongeBob. I think they'd pick this because it's on. But then it gets to the point of like, but if you have Paramount Plus and, you can like not watch this because there aren't time slots, what's sort of the use of it? And I didn't really get the point of it because it's like it's an half-hour show, so it really hurts its length, because if it had been 10 minutes like shorts like the SpongeBob show. I know they do longer ones, but for the most part, these 10, 11-minute things, I think it would have worked a lot better. But trying to do this longer sitcom thing didn't really work as well. It's really just trying to sitcom out SpongeBob, which doesn't work as well. It's not as funky and weird. I wasn't like disappointed. It's sort of just like, I guess this where we're going. Oh, good night, Super Drive Minion. I hope you have a good night. I hope you sleep well. It just didn't really make a lot of sense to me when I was watching it. Like, why, as a viewer or as someone who watches stuff with little kids, like why a kid would want to watch this. And I couldn't really get behind that. You know, I think they're like, I know kids like seeing characters as kids, and I think that could sort of work, but it's like SpongeBob in most kids' minds is a kid, and I just don't really, only the first episode is 20, okay, the rest are 11, so maybe like this is a bad episode to start with, to be honest. Maybe they shouldn't be showing this one first. But it was also weird. I noticed the lore they set up in Sponge on the Run was not the same. Like, they bring up in Sponge on the Run that Mr. Krabs had a restaurant, a sandwich stand, and then it became SpongeBob like encouraged him, and then he made the Krusty Krab and stuff. In this, Mr. Krabs is a camp counselor, so like the lore is already bullshit. But it is not. I just don't. I didn't really like it that much. I had a hard time staying awake through it. But I think it's like a decent fine kid show. A lot of that stuff is kind of garbage. So in terms of like in the low bar that is, this is like still meets the midpoint pretty pleasantly, but it just doesn't go much beyond that. Finding out this was a 22, that's the other thing, is like, I don't really care that much about it. Like, I just think it's like sort of like whatever. If it was on somewhere, I'm sure we'd sort of watch it and put up with it. But that's sort of like as much as this can really be. I think, I didn't really want to take it down just for the sake of it. But now that I'm like confronted with it, I'm a little like, why did I even do this? And I think that's kind of the thing, is like unless you are, a family member or something makes you watch it, that's sort of like what this stuff is. And it kind of feels like SpongeBob without the artistry. And I don't know if we necessarily need that. And seeing like this brand stretch now with the Patrick show and this does, I guess I am a little more on the pessimistic side after having watched this, because I just don't see the use of it for the brand, and I don't see the use of it for the consumer or the viewer. I just see it as kind of like Muppet Babies, when that launched, added an extra element to it, did it differently. This to me just looks like subpar diet caffeine-free SpongeBob. And I don't know if I really need that in my life. I think I'd much rather, that stuff's also supposed to be cancerous for you anyway. So I think it's like, if you wanted SpongeBob to be an emptier, lighter experience that just washes through you, then, that's fine. I think it's fine for kids after they get home and they need to relax or something. But I think even kids probably have a little bit better taste, even both in SpongeBob shows and in shows in general, than this really. So. All right, let's do questions. Sorry. I think people thought it'd be nicer to Kamp Karol. Rugrats fetuses. Yeah, so go ahead and ask questions and we'll wrap up at the usual 12:30 time and stuff. SpongeBob episodic continuity doesn't exist. I'm not surprised. All right. All grow down. Literally just I like that. That's funny. All grow down. All right, question from Cornbread. Do you think Paul Bentley hype people up too much for the special cameo character? Follow up. Who non-X-Men related characters should it have been, and why should it be Cantina Wolfman? I agree. It should have been Cantina Wolfman. I thought the Paul Bentley thing was really funny. I know everyone called him like an asshole and stuff. I thought it should have been Ian McKellen. I think that would have been the only one that was like really cool. And I would like him to make a cameo. I think that would be really neat. We have a super chat from Will. Hold on. BTW, before the stream ends, testament of Jim's taste for recommending wonder shows and high quality television right there, along with Vernon Chapman and John Lee's other credits. Looking forward to their upcoming A24 outing. Oh, I forgot about that. That's true. Thank you very much for all the super chats and for that big one at the end, Wall. And thank you for proclaiming. Yeah, seriously, everyone, if you do try out Paramount Plus, just go straight to Wonder Chosen. Watch some Beavis and Butthead or whatever, but watch all of Wonder Chosen. And the last episode, Patience, is a piece of fucking art. Mwah, I love that episode. I have the DVD of season 1. I never got season 2, and I regret it. I think there's a complete series I actually saw Augenblick was pushing. But cheers to you, Will. I think we're killing both Red Bulls tonight. I also don't know if we've ever talked about Wonder Chosen. Well, I'll have to bring that up to you next time. Yeah, I saw that there's a we have another super chat. Clarify. So Random is the short-lived spinoff of the Disney Channel show Sunny with a Chance. I have no clue what that is. Is that a Sonny Bono biopic show? I'm going to assume it is. But cheers to you, not Box 64. Thank you. I'm sorry. I do not know anything about Disney sitcoms other than the That's So Raven, which I think, that's all I know. Anyway, cheers to you. Thank you as well for the super chat. All right. I'll answer the Zane Powers one because I feel bad about the Harry Potter thing. I'm sorry, Zane Powers. How did Mr. McKay die? Mr. McKay died he had a heart attack while driving, so then it was a car accident. So it was like a double. It was pretty horrific. All right. It was very well animated by someone who's not me. Anyway, Austin, sorry. Ow. Hit my tripod there. What happened to Denzel Washington from Man on Fire from Cletus the Fetus? Did he get his food? No, he just burned. Question, Quibi or Paramount Plus? I think I answered that one, but Quibi. Major Mekazawa, now that Paramount Plus has launched, do you think this service will last in the long run, or do you think it'll be discontinued in a few years? That's an interesting question. I do think the problem with a lot of these streaming services, when they launch, they're never at their peak, what they could be. I was reviewing Paramount Plus at launch. I do think with the Halo show, I think it'll be more hyped. I think they're announcing a lot of cool stuff, but they're not announcing things that I'm super, I don't know. I think it could work out for them. And I think they're popular enough in terms of they have CBS. It's a very popular network. I think it could work out for them. I actually think they'll stick around. I just think they need more to get me to give a shit. Zane Powers, if I didn't make my magnum opus by the age of 25, am I officially too old and I failed as an artist? No, don't listen to that stuff. That stuff is really stupid. I hate when people say that, actually. So don't. I know it was a joke, but if you ever think that, don't think that, because how old was Stan Lee when he created Spider-Man? Way older than Orson Welles. And trust me, when I'm doing this Magnificent Ambersons thing, Orson Welles is, Fun fact, none of the Sanrio accounts on Twitter, including the Hello Kitty one, aren't verified. Isn't it weird that Hello Kitty, the second highest grossing media franchise of all time, isn't verified? I didn't know that. Is that true? The second highest? Damn, that's crazy. Bruce Parker, who is the worst superhero movie love interest? Whoever the replacement for Lois Lane was in Superman 3, that was pretty. And I think she was in Smallville, but I think she was better in. I can't really speak on Smallville. What's your favorite reimagining? I hate that term, so none of them. Are you seeing Chaos Walking from NBLT? At some point, but I don't think it's on demand, so I probably won't get to. Black Saxon Call. When is the Crew starring Kevin James? I don't know if that'll happen, but we'll see. Desanophobia, did Quibi ever have a chance to survive? I think if Quibi had been free, it would have survived. That's what I think. What happened to the rich corporate lawyer? He from Zodberg. I don't actually like joking around about it because he was based on someone who died, to be honest with you. But I think he just kept being a rich corporate lawyer. Adrian Sierra, talking about spinoffs, would you ever like them to do the Paticus spinoff? I don't know what that is. So maybe? Are you excited for Loki still from Austin? Yes, I am, actually. I think that's probably going to be the most promising one. Rocket Lobax, console or PC gaming? Something. Not plausible. You said that Paramount had a bad launch, but has any streaming service had a good launch? Yes, Disney Plus. HBO Max was alright, but Disney Plus, I do think, had a good launch. Ace the Wind Rider, how long would you last in the grid from Tron? Not very long. I would die very quickly. Kid Cheeto D, have you seen the movie The Little Things? Yeah, I reviewed it. You should check it out. And I spent a lot of time on it. I explained a lot in it. Actually spent way more time than I ever probably should have. Is the Lola Bunny redesign, this is Sleepy Time for Cat Productions, redesigned the same reason why Shang Li was not in Mortal Kombat? Sorry, that made me laugh. Yes, it was. Mandela Butterfly. What Nick show would you have wanted to get a baby spinoff like Hey Little Arnold? Yeah, Fetus Rugrats. Actually, what happened to Doug? Because Doug in the first episode comes to his town. What was his life like before the first episode of Doug? We don't actually. There's literally. I don't think we know anything about that. So that would be a good little spinoff. The Wessonator's message is redacted. So yes and or no. Bloxy Oxenwinkle. What are they gonna do? When are they gonna do Great Lakes Adventures? Oh man, I used to read West Coast Avengers, so I'm still waiting for that one. Same Powers. How do you feel about the SJW cucklords ruining such American institutions as Dr. Seuss, Mr. Potato, and Lola Bunny? I'm being sarcastic, of course. Well, the Dr. Seuss thing, the Dr. Seuss company chose to not publish those books anymore, so that is on the Dr. Seuss's company's choice. Mr. Potato Head, I really don't mind because it's actually easier for the parent and the consumer. And Lola Bunny, it's like, why is everyone so weird about her? Bruce Parker, what cartoon characters need to go to real life New York City next? Maybe Betty Boop. That'd be cool. I think you could maybe do something cool with her. There. Jordan Slawflow, can you watch Richard Linklater's Before series out of order, or should it be chronological? I have not actually watched all of them. I watched one a long time ago, so I could not answer that question. I should have gotten around to that. That is one of the cinematic blind spot. Do you use an Instapot? Is that like a porta potty? I don't know. I would love a Paticus spinoff. Okay. I'm very curious what that is. Little Avatar babies. I like that, Marley. Oh man. Okay, where am I? Okay. Can you believe it's been 20 years since Titan AE came out? Oh fuck, it really has, hasn't it? Damn it. Yeah, I can't. That was a good video Saber made. I helped with it there. I have a review of it as well. That's probably going to be the throwback video of the week. Do you think the Polaris would instead be an alternative version of the Scarlet Witch instead of her sister? What? Do you think Polaris would instead be an alternative version of the Scarlet Witch instead of her sister? I think you mean Captain Marvel? Do you mean Captain Marvel? I think it'd be cool. I think she should be used better. She's a fine actress, and I hope they find a much better use of her than they did. Not plausible. You should do a gaming channel where you play Pac-Man like every 2 months, and sometimes you check out a pinball machine every night. I actually used to really like pinball in the 90s. And there was like near Towson University had a pinball machine. They'd change them out, and I'd be like so excited. I remember some guy who worked there. It's like, it's only this weird high school kid who comes here for no reason. Who canceled Mr. Ed? Did they cancel him? That sucks. The Wessonator. Do you think Lola Bunny's the Looney Tunes show design would have been good for Space Jam 2? I don't know it that well, but maybe. Jordan Slawflow, which is better, Tubi or Quibi? Tubi. Zane Powers, you happy with the COVID bill passing today? I am happy with that. I hope everyone gets some health there. So random is SNL but Disney Channel? Ugh, doesn't sound good. How do you feel about Disney completing a seemingly impossible task by somehow managing Paul Bentley even more white? That's funny. I like that. Okay, let's just do 4 more. Jim doesn't know of Hannah. I don't. Adrian Sierra, I don't know. Something clever here is what I usually write, but I got nothing. Been a nice stream though. Patches. Thank you, Adrian. I like that you're here. I like when you come back sometimes. What would happen if I viewed life like it was Cletus the Fetus? I think it would just be a lot of dumb rants. When will we get the Cletus prequel show? Do you know how many fan scripts I got to do something like that? You have no idea. It was like a plague. Do you think this is not plausible? Do you think J.G. Quintel will stop making shows about the same types of characters, just getting older and older? I sort of wouldn't mind that, but I will say Randy is just what's his name? Your mom guy. God, it's getting late. All right, let's find what are the last. Let's find Nattenbox 64. What do you prefer, Pluto TV or Tubi? Ooh, that's a tough one actually. Pluto. Embla T. Remember when Paul Bentley was in Legion and Priest? Yes, I do. Sorry. Who's canceling a talking horse? Have you seen Sorry to Bother You? Yes, I have 9box64, and I have reviewed it. You should check it out. Who wants a high five? Thank you. I would like a high five. And let's find who. Let's do Nathaniel Foga. Who should play Cletus the Fetus in a big budget adaptation? Since I own the rights, I would make it be me. But if it wasn't me, it would be whoever voiced Stitch. I forget which one it was of those guys. Muscle Man. I'm sorry. Whoever voiced Stitch in Lilo and Stitch. I forget which one of those guys it was. But whoever it is, I would. If they insisted it not be me, I would ask him. All right, I think we did good here, as the anthem said. I still know those guys. All right, thank you all for being here. Thank you all very much for being as nice as you are, and as generous and all those stuff. Please check out. There's a post-credit scene in Tom and Jerry. I do not remember that. Or I just wanted to turn it off. All right, I think we're done for tonight. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for all your generosity with the super chats. I hope you all have enjoyed the videos this past week. I hope you all have a good night. There'll be some stuff this next week, but not as much. And we'll be back next week. The Monday after will be Oscars. There'll be a bonus stream at some point. I'm not sure what time, but next stream I will let you know. And check out the Saber Spark video, the Sandra O Spyscape video. All my videos this week was, what's it called? Whatever. Prolific, I guess? Yeah. All right. Well, you have a good night. All those good things. Thank you all very much. And subscribe if you would like to. Have a good night, everybody.